the growth of the meme coin industry is just that the barrier to entry is very low. Everyone is actually jumping that barrier and getting in because everyone thinks it's a gold rush. That's not where we want to bring blockchain towards. We want to bring blockchain towards incentive mechanisms that help people help the platform, help people grow the platform as well. And it's a meme. It's a meme that became a government organization through a meme coin. Now,
what about AI bots for trading?
Turning that into like retail economics. And if crypto continues to grow, retail economics are going to be retail crypto economics are going to be dominated by these AIs. When Elon was asked like, hey, well, do you want to build a blockchain for the treasury? Yes. We haven't even touched space travel today. We haven't touched what in 10 years, Elon's going to have a city on Mars.
From corporate to entrepreneurship, not normal entrepreneurship, future entrepreneurship, 1-year-old entrepreneurship, failing drastically, falling sick, rising up again. Pandu Wisaksono.
Hello, Sunil. Hi.
Hi. An activist of blockchain, an entrepreneur, and also an executive producer and host in Bloomberg Technos. Wow, amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for having me, Sunil, by the way.
Thank you for coming and thank you for staying alive. We need brains like you.
Well, I almost died. I'll get to that story. It's an interesting story, actually. So Sunil and I, we've been friends for a while, right?
Yes.
And I think when we first met, I was doing something called Blockchain Zoo.
Yes.
And it was right after I left IBM.
Yes.
So I was actually in the corporate world for years and years.
Yeah.
Did a lot of stuff. But then I discovered crypto during like my time at IBM.
Yeah.
Like obviously it's a very techy company.
Yeah.
And blockchain was actually researched internally. Like they didn't announce their blockchain until 2018, 2019. I forgot.
Yeah.
But before that, there was actually a lot of discussions about blockchain. So I was like, okay, what is this? Let me try, right? And I didn't just try the crypto part, also the tech part, right?
Okay.
Super interesting. And based on that, I actually left IBM because I wanted to build something that is better. So I built Blockchain Zoo together with my friends. So I was one of the co-founders of Blockchain Zoo.
Yeah.
Now, after building that, I also built something called Blocksphere, which is also a blockchain consulting company focused in Indonesia. So consulting company, we did a lot of stuff. 2017, crypto was taking off, right? Everyone thought so, at least. But then, I forgot when, but like during the end of the year, everything started to crash, and basically it crashed and burned.
And burn.
I still basically still got money, but it's not a lot. And then something happened to me in 2018. This is referring to what you said.
Yeah.
So apparently I have a genetic condition in which my blood is actually thicker than normal people, which means it clots faster.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a very bad superpower, and it is very bad.
Yeah,
So,
and that works when you are stressful also.
Exactly. So I was under a lot of I guess physical stress.
Yeah.
I didn't feel stressed, but I had a lot of physical stress that I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I was flying everywhere. I was flying to Singapore, Malaysia. Like during that 1 week where I actually got DVT, I was flying to 6 cities around Southeast Asia, and going to Bandung was the last one, and my leg swelled up huge, and I didn't know why. I thought it was and I took medicine, but because I didn't know what to take, I just took random medicine, which caused it to get worse. Yeah. And went back, and this is through with the train, because Bandung, Jakarta, train is faster. Yeah. But
back then there was no fastest train.
There was no faster train.
Yeah.
No, not at all. This is 2018. 2018.
Yeah.
And I was I was there, and I was thinking this is painful, and everything's starting to get faint. And my mom actually picked me up. And my mom, she was almost crying. I think she was already crying. And when we got to the hospital said, this is actually life-threatening.
Wow.
So I didn't know I had DVT, and I had to spend weeks in the hospital just to recover. And I was like, did choose the wrong thing since I'm gonna run out of money really soon.
Yeah.
This was probably the biggest thing that ever happened to me, and I couldn't pay for it
Because that was a big leap that you took.
I took
from
a big
corporate
leap.
from corporate world to an.
If this had happened in 2017, when I was still at IBM, or 2016, when I was still at IBM, IBM would have covered everything.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And but now, like
you're on your own.
I'm on my own. Like obviously, like in retrospect, there are some things that I sort of fix now, like insurance, everything. Like there's a lot of planning that needs to be done when you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But back then, I was thinking like, okay, I'm young. Nothing's gonna happen to me. I'm
just
that
confidence.
Yes, that confidence, right? This is years ago, so I was still young.
Yeah.
Not young anymore.
But that's entrepreneurship.
That's
the lonely road.
The lonely road. Yes.
The
Even if
lonely
you're
road,
with your friends, you're actually standing apart from like other people. Like all the others are, they have daily jobs. They know exactly where they're going to be in a year, for example. But we are building things that, especially if it's tech, if it's future tech.
Yes, future tech, idealism.
Idealism, yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, 6 months I spent in the hospital, plus like recuperation took a while, took a long time.
And what did you realize after that? Did you realize that entrepreneurship is not for me, or you realize that no, I'm doing something wrong and I'm learning a lot from this?
Sunil, one thing that everyone tells me that I'm confident to a fault. Since I want to do things. When I say I want to do things, I execute. Like I always end up doing it.
Yeah.
But at that time, it crossed my mind to stop being an entrepreneur.
Okay.
It actually did. Since it was so painful.
You had to consider that.
It was a sane it was something sane to think about.
Yeah.
Right. And I even started calling up my old friends, IBM and all the others. But then, like one day, I just realized that this was actually at the cusp of crypto being adopted by Indonesia, blockchain being adopted by Indonesia. Since before then, crypto was not even legal. Like it's not legal tender, right?
Yeah.
It's still not legal tender, but it was not recognized.
Yeah.
And I was actually doing so many events because back then it was starting to get accepted.
Yeah.
Like we have gotten basically a way to get crypto recognized as an asset class.
Okay.
And getting that acceptance took years of actual discussions, right?
Yes.
Up until that time. So 2018, I started the Indonesian Blockchain Association.
Wow. You started the Indonesian Blockchain Association?
Together with Oscar Darmawan, Steven Suhadi, and several other people.
Yeah.
And I was one of the co-founders.
Yeah.
And this was actually right before the DVT, but it took off after.
Yeah.
And we basically, I can't take all of the credit. Obviously, this is basically the association.
Yeah.
The association pushed for crypto to be recognized as an asset class.
Okay.
Which is why now, if something ever happens to your crypto, you get police protection. Hey, you get stolen, you get police protection, for example.
Okay. At least it's recognized.
It's recognized.
Yeah.
You can pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
People know exactly what to do if they want to get crypto in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Now we have so many exchanges I can't even count.
Yeah.
But it started then.
Yeah. And you were one of the early players.
I was actually one
of the
initiators.
Yes.
We basically helped make crypto legal in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's the government. I cannot say that we made it legal, but we helped.
You pushed
a
it.
lot.
You pushed it. Yeah.
We lobbied for it,
Yeah.
and the other thing I lobbied for was for the government and companies to adopt blockchain.
Okay.
To utilize blockchain in their solutions,
All right.
internally or externally, and we actually after the DVT thing, we got a lot of workshops in. We did a lot of workshops. We did workshops with BCA, for example. We did workshops with Angkasa Pura II, the airport company. We got workshops very recently. This was just something we did.
That's your consulting company.
This is my consulting company.
Okay.
So this is actually, at first it was Blockchain Zoo that did it, but then it sort of transitioned into my Jakarta consulting company because obviously it's Indonesian.
Yeah.
Blockchain Zoo is not actually Indonesian; it's actually abroad.
Yeah.
So we took the blocksphere one, and blocksphere one is still the one I maintain to this day.
All right.
3 months ago, we did one with BPJS Kesehatan.
Yeah. And what do you actually do workshop? Like you introduce what is blockchain, you introduce how technology help. What do you do?
2018, yes. It's more, this is blockchain. This is how you can integrate blockchain to your business. What are your business processes? Business processes like this, that fits blockchain here, for example, right? Do you want to integrate crypto, tokenization, blah, 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 all of those features, right? But now, everyone knows crypto. And we don't have to actually restart sort of like the explanation of blockchain, since they actually already have a definition, an internal definition. That definition might be wrong, obviously, but they have an internal definition. So we go directly to how like this type of technology, decentralized technology, can help your company. And a lot of companies are very centralized, right? So a lot of them are asking, okay, why would I implement something that is decentralized?
That's my concern as well. If it is centralized, why do you want to decentralize?
Exactly. Now, the way we frame it is always different company to company, but it's always something related to, there's always sort of like differences of differing agendas within even a company. Like, and different agendas means that you have a different level of trust between you and your team, for example, with the opposite team. Right? So that kind of organizational state can be helped by organizing it with a blockchain.
I think the government needs that more than anyone.
That is that's
because between one ministry to another ministry, the integration is not straight.
Right. I actually after I got sick, like it was like, hey, that we came into that same epiphany. The government actually needs trust, and at least needs to convey, the transparency, right?
Yep.
And that type of transparency implemented through the blockchain is actually perfect, right?
Yeah.
So. One of our big projects is actually for carbon credits. Tracking carbon credits on the blockchain.
Yeah.
We did that in 2018, 2019. I kind of forgot. It wasn't for an Indonesian governmental entity. It was actually for Japan. So Japan actually takes care of, like, at least back then, carbon credits tracing for the entirety of the region. So Asia Pacific, right? So we implemented it, including the document tracing. And it went really well. It went really well for them. And this is actually differing agendas to a T, because like all the nations have different agendas. Like within the nations, all the organizations also have different agendas, right? So that creation of trust, making sure that trust exists even within, like, built into the technology, is sort of like what we sold to people as either a product or a consulting gig, or like building a project from end to end.
That's interesting. I'm going back a little bit.
Sure.
This is a personal question.
Sure.
Pandu.
Yeah.
How do you feel? And what is your view about being a professional versus being an entrepreneurship?
Ooh, okay. There's a balance of both. I thought when I was a professional, I wanted to be free. So I became an entrepreneur full on.
And you felt it was freedom.
It's super free, but then it wasn't, because at one point, there's actually a lot more responsibility with being an entrepreneur, and you can really easily mess it up if you're not professional. So going back to that, there's actually a fine line between being a full entrepreneur that's just like, okay, I'm just gonna do things my way and I don't care about everyone else, and like being stuck in an office in a cubicle and just doing things exactly like everyone else does. There's actually a fine line between that, and that's something I try to walk, being professional, but also having that sense of freedom, not full freedom, but like a sense of freedom to actually execute ideas.
I think the sense of freedom in entrepreneurship is about being creative, being gutsy,
yes.
Trying to create experiments, right?
Yes.
Because entrepreneurship is about experiments, problem solving. But if you are not doing it in a professional manner, that's where things get messed up.
Correct. I agree. That's basically the fine line. And it's difficult to walk that fine line, because when you're working in the startup space, you're working in the entrepreneur space, you meet a lot of people who've been there and are not very professional, for example, but you need to work with them sometimes. And you meet people who are like, so this is personal experiences, right? So after I built after I built Blocksphere and all these the association as well, in 2019 we started a company that works for decentralized science. Basically, it's called the Bio Network. Right? So it focuses really on basically building a blockchain for bioinformatics.
Okay.
Right? So this is a very new idea, and
what is bioinformatics?
Bioinformatics is basically the computer science of your genetics.
Okay.
So how do you like use tools like CRISPR to change sort of like the condition of like the genetics of cells to change it? Is one of them. Or if you sequence your genome with 23andMe, for example, and other companies, you get sort of a report, you have a higher risk of heart disease, for example, and stuff like that. Now, bioinformatics is actually a type of data which is very dangerous if it gets leaked.
Okay.
Because you can actually see, like, with your genome, we 100% see, like, okay, so there's a risk of this kind of health issue. There's another risk of this. It's not certain. It's never certain. It's genetics.
Yeah.
But obviously that is dangerous to you because it violates privacy, right?
Yeah.
So we set up a blockchain basically to privatize this, make the data private. Okay. So everything is encrypted and then put into the blockchain, and we make sure that it never leaks, right?
And actually, that's supposed to be done with even the medical data.
Yeah, it's including medical data as well. Like we expanded the medical data.
Do you think that Indonesia is still having a centralized medical data, not decentralized?
Yeah, it's still centralized.
But is it work? Is it the same in America, same like in Singapore, or is it different?
It is the same.
It is the same.
In fact, Singapore actually had issues with having a centralized source of data. Like that's the issue was a hack that happened, like I forgot when, but like several years ago. That hack actually leaked all of like their medical data, like most of their medical data, including the prime ministers. And I read about it, like not first-hand experience, but that's actually what we're trying to avoid with actually making the bio network, right?
Okay.
Now, well, going back to my point though about professionalism, like obviously with the bio network we dealt with a lot of professionals, right? But since it's a crypto project is very decentralized. If you can contribute, you can contribute. If you can contribute money, you contribute money. If you can invest, you invest. But the thing is, because it's very decentralized, we can't select for like the level of professionalism. Okay. In fact, most people in like crypto are not very professional. Yeah. And okay, this guy is not professional, but like he bought into our project, for example, right? For I don't know, $1 million, for example, right? So we need to work with these people. And I'm not mentioning names. This is something that's common in this space.
We call that investors.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There's actually not just, it's not just, like when you build a blockchain company though, the utility of the blockchain actually also comes from tokens. Like you have to spend tokens to use it, or you have to stake tokens to use it, etc. Now that kind of like, that actually means that this person, even if he's not very professional, but like he's actually part of the ecosystem, a very deep part of the ecosystem, because otherwise the system won't run, right? So I had to build that. I built other companies as well that is in the blockchain space, in the crypto space. And the difficulty is always about, balancing between the two.
Balancing, that's the most important word. That's
balancing,
a key word.
Pushing back, yes. And I feel that, like you and me, we've been around. Like we're about the same age, right? So are we? I think.
You are way younger than me.
For real?
I'm way older than you.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. How old are you?
I don't mention numbers.
Okay. Sorry. I
only mention my bank balance numbers in case you're interested.
No. Well, okay. I mean, I feel that, we know this, right? Yeah. Like a lot of people out there who want to be entrepreneurs do not. Like being an entrepreneur is not full freedom. Yeah. You are responsible for yourself. You're responsible for other people. Yeah. You are responsible for your investors. Yes. And it's actually a huge responsibility. And if you don't perform in a way that is expected of you professionally, that is an issue. Yes. A lot of people just think that, okay, professionalism is only for the office. But no, like even if you're basically selling pisang goreng and you're okay. Let's not mention pisang. Like when you're doing things that are like that seems to be like just regular entrepreneurship. Oh, I'm just doing this part time. If you grow, that level of growth causes you to become an enterprise.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. But here's the thing: most of the entrepreneurs are opportunists. That's where the problem is.
Right.
Because there are 3 levels that I understand.
Opportunist.
You need to be an opportunist, but you also need to have a managerial skill, and you also need to have a strategical skill.
Right.
Managerial and strategical comes in professionalism.
Yeah.
Opportunist comes as it's like a spirit. It's like the fire.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I can see something in the future, and it's gonna be a big bang, and I'm gonna create something that has high impact, high profit, high sustainability, high scalability.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
but
agree.
that spirit is called fire. But that fire won't last long if you don't have the right team to manage, and you don't have the A players for strategy.
Right.
And this is where the big mess happens.
Right.
Pandu,
Hi.
I heard that you can you started programming at the age of 6, and then you can speak fluent English at the age of maybe 4 or 5 years old.
Well, 6, yeah.
And then you studied only in Indonesia?
Yes.
Yeah. But you have certifications from MIT and so on.
Yeah.
Can you briefly tell me, did you get an electric shock or there is something else? Or what do you eat? Do you eat tahu tempe or you eat something else? I don't know. Or you eat cheese, macaroni? What do you eat that you became
so there was an electrical plug when I was 2 years old. And no, that wasn't the story. So I have a wonderful mom.
Yeah.
And also a wonderful dad.
Yeah.
And one thing that she gave me was the ability to learn.
Okay.
And I wasn't given a lot of toys, no dolls, but I was given some toys to build things, like
Okay.
including like things that are very traditional, like a car made out of like a orange peel, for example,
right.
and stuff like that. And it's like, I think it was like very early on that I was taught how to read, and I actually learned English starting from when I was 4 years old. Since I was able to read when I was 4, so I started learning English from Sesame Street.
Wow.
Between the ages 4 and 6. And, Sesame Street is English with subtitles, right?
Yeah.
At least back in those days.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to Sesame Street, I don't know if they still air Sesame Street, but like several years ago, I saw Sesame Street and I was really, really disappointed because it was all dubbed.
Yep.
And that's unfortunate. But I actually learned English fully from Sesame Street.
Wow.
And regarding programming, my dad's a doctor.
Yeah.
But he was also really, really interested in programming.
Okay.
So he actually got like a computer really early. I think I forgot what year. Obviously, it was years ago. But when I was 6, he had this computer and QBasic was on it.
Yes, QBasic.
So
back in the days.
Yes. So I actually made a lot of things with QBasic.
Yeah.
A lot of games I made with QBasic.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of the games. I tried to make, and then I learned about batch files.
But the design of those days is like the Roblox design today.
No.
No, the design of QBasic.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like Roblox today.
It's like Roblox. Okay.
Yeah, the design, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you have a look at Roblox, it's like going back to the old days of
really?
design. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't tried Roblox.
It's more
Okay, so-
boxes and all that. Yeah.
Well, QBasic was back then was only text though. Like
Yeah.
since it was when I was 6, right? Like I was born in 1984.
But
right?
you were using computer that was black and green screen, or
Well, it's already color. It's just like
oh
really
yeah,
bad color.
it was already AT, not XT.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you are older than me. Then. I'm sorry. I think I know what your age is now.
I used when computer was black and green screen,
Okay,
text
all right.
based. Yeah.
I actually came across a few of those computers at my time in IBM,
Yeah.
like green screen.
Yeah, they were called IBM computers back then.
IBM computers. But anyway, I was just like I have really great parents, and
Yeah. And
they.
what drove you into technology world?
for technology, this is my dad. So my
Okay.
dad gave me a book, and on that book, it's a book for kids, but it's all about computers.
Okay.
And the first page, the IBM mainframe.
Okay.
So I had a book on the cover, like before this was obviously decades before I went into IBM.
Yeah.
I had an IBM book on my
Yeah.
bookshelf, and
Yeah.
I was fascinated. Like, this thing can think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there were like little projects inside, how to make your own computer.
Yeah.
And there's actually a computer that's they call a punch card computer, which is basically just like, in that book, it's just a bunch of cards. You basically put holes inside like the cards.
Yeah.
And then like you pull out the cards with a bit of with a small stick.
Yeah.
And you can basically know, like, okay, so these cards are all names of people.
Yeah.
So we want to know how many of these people are women. So
Yeah.
we put the stick into like the hole that
Yeah.
says gender.
Yeah.
And then you find which ones are women.
Wow.
Like that's actually like something I did very early on. And then, like, this is something that I need to translate into QBasic,
Okay.
right? And obviously, like, it's a binary search algorithm,
Yeah.
right? And I went there, and I that's one of the things I did. I tried making a chat bot very early, which is not a chat bot. It's basically just like you talk to an NPC,
Wow.
right?
And how old were you back then?
It's 10, probably 10.
10 years old, already thinking of making a chatbot, and
Yeah.
today chatbot is for...
It's everywhere, right? Like the name I use for my chat GPT is the same name I gave to my first chatbot,
Yeah.
Lena.
Okay.
So it's yeah. And I actually went to the school. It's ITB, and I actually built an expert system for environmental impact assessment back in 2007 to 2008.
And that was AI.
That was AI. Expert systems are basically like a different approach to AI. Now we're focusing on, Gen AI, a lot of deep learning, a lot of
Yeah.
machine learning, right? So imagine, like, back then, we didn't have all of those. Everything needed to be coded,
Yeah.
right? But I made something, the expert system was able to help you write an environmental impact assessment report,
Wow.
laporan AMDAL,
Yeah.
basically by asking you questions. So,
Yeah.
hey, Sunil, what's your business?
So it
Okay.
was like a chat GPT back in the days.
Yes, yes. 2008. Together with my professor, obviously, like a lot
Yeah.
of the code is actually his.
Yeah.
I just helped. But we published it. No one cared.
No one cared.
No one cared.
No one cares for innovation.
No, for the, believe it or not, like for the actual sidang, for the actual submission, I only got a B plus. Wasn't even an A.
Because it's something that was not understood.
It wasn't really something understood. Plus, like I'm actually part of like this is super weird, but like I'm actually not in informatics.
Yeah.
I'm actually in environmental engineering, so I'm
Yeah.
an engineer.
Yeah.
I should have gotten into computer. It's a long story, but like I wanted to like sort of like expand my horizons, right? So, but a lot of people in the environmental engineering department didn't really understand. Like I'm sorry, it was back then, 2008. It was the middle of like the AI winter.
Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't understand like what was this about.
So you were living in 2020 at 2007.
I guess so. I guess so. And like I mean, it's super sad. And after that, after I was in IBM and I started to build.
But when you joined IBM, did you ever thought that, hey, I manifested something that I always thought?
I think I did. Since like one.
Did you realize that, or was it intentional, or was it unintentional?
I kept remembering that book.
Yeah.
That book that my dad gave me with IBM on the cover, like
Wow.
the IBM machine.
So visualization
actually
is
helps at this time.
manifestation.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't consciously do it, but like I kept thinking about it since.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to actually do something related to computers, like the
Yeah.
big computers, right?
Yeah.
Not just like the tiny little ones,
Yeah.
but the big
Mainframes.
ones. Mainframes.
Yeah.
And the only company that still built mainframes were actually IBM.
Yes, all banking system were
Exactly.
IBMs. Yeah.
Exactly. It's still most banking systems are mainframes.
Yep.
Now, I think like when I have that background, like like that coding background, and
But you eat normal foods.
I do.
Okay. I thought you eat some additional foods that we need to know.
What?
Okay. You like gado-gado and ketoprak. You like
I
all
love
that.
gado-gado.
Yeah. You love it.
Satay is really good.
Okay,
yeah.
so you're normal.
No,
yeah,
normal.
Okay.
Pretty normal.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
yeah, relatively. Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe you like just cheese and macaronis. Okay.
I like cheese.
Nice.
Who doesn't, right?
Okay.
All right, but seriously, like I think the background of that actually is what led me to IBM. Like IBM is like this school for me. Like I learned so much at IBM. I got a lot of my certifications during my time at IBM. Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I learned the actual history of these machines, where they come from. And then I actually got I was in IBM for 6 years. They gave me 6 roles. So every year I had a different role. And it's actually almost every year it was a promotion.
I think they recognized that you are a person who is highly driven into trying something new.
I guess so.
Yeah,
and,
experimenting something new.
Right. And they actually liked having someone to basically go into sort of the edge cases.
Yes.
And obviously that's when I, started researching blockchain. So I did the metaverse stuff.
Yeah.
Metaverse I did in 2012.
Yeah.
So metaverse, it was Second Life.
Yes, Second Life, right.
Bitcoin is also around that time. So it's sort of like the edge cases. Like how do we, I'm not talking about edge computing, but like the edge of technology. What is actually coming soon? Which is why when you said earlier, in the last segment, that when there is opportunism in entrepreneurship, I would prefer the word having a vision of the future, right? So I would say it's futurism instead of opportunism, because we're trying to predict. All of us are trying to predict trends. Okay. A lot of people are just samey, like, okay, AI, etc. is now it's no longer the winter, it's the summer of AI. So every single company is talking about AI. Every single blockchain says they're the blockchain for AI, right? Yeah. But that's not the way. That's something that you can do. That's fine, but you still have to have an element of looking forward, like futurism. And I think futurism is sort of if I were to describe myself to someone I met at the bus, for example, or at the train, I would describe myself as a futurist. Wow. Since this is what I really want. This is what I really want is to make cyberpunk real.
Okay.
And how do we do that? We look at the future, we look at the present day, and we look at how we get there.
But do you realize that sometimes what you see in the future is actually a reflection of the past?
Oh, yes. Okay, so there's so many revolutions in tech, right? And multiple revolutions in tech happen the same way.
Yep.
Winter first, everyone ignores you, and then boom. Winter, and then everyone says oh, this cannot be legal, or this cannot be used.
Resistance at the beginning.
Resistance at the beginning. So that is a pattern that repeats, and I think it's all because that's how humans basically interact with each other.
Yeah, and interact.
And the way we create new things is not by everyone directly agreeing.
Yeah.
There's going to be pushback. There's going to be debates.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of debates. Now, a lot of those debates, because they're tech debates, always end up with this, my tech is better than yours, right?
Yeah.
But the idea is not whether one tech is better, it's whether a tech can be adopted. Now, if we have consumer expectations of last 10 years, right? Everything changed from not having stuff instantaneously 10 years ago, 10 years ago was 2015, right?
Yeah.
To now having an application on my phone to basically get anything anywhere, Tokopedia Instant or Gojek or whatever, right? But that is going to evolve again.
Yeah.
Because the next few years is going to see the rise, for example, of companies entirely created by AI.
Yes.
And you know what? That's already happening in crypto, for example. Yeah. So a lot of the things that we see always have a microcosm in my experience, and that microcosm is the early adopter microcosm, and that expands to full adoption. So we see the early adopters first. We see how it's done. And then we see how this can expand to the universe. Now, that's the projection. We talk about having, there are many, many things that are basically relegated to the graveyard of technology, obviously.
Okay.
But those aren't issues with the ideas. It's the issue with the implementation.
Okay.
So last year, a lot of AI pins, right? A lot of AI devices, glasses, etc., right? And everyone used those, but everyone saw those but didn't buy them.
Yep.
Right?
Because it was not recognizable.
It was not recognizable. It was too early. But
Yeah.
the idea of having an AI assistant constantly with you,
Yeah.
that is an idea that still would be truthy in the future and
Yes.
would still be implemented correctly.
Yes.
Timing is everything, implementation is everything. But when you look at the mega trends of the future,
Yeah.
you know which ideas will actually be implemented.
I think in entrepreneurship, the most important key is knowing the timing.
Timing is actually very difficult.
Yes.
There's one thing that I felt like DBio should have done is launched 2 years later. I
Yeah.
mean, some of these things.
The issues of people that are futurist, they do things early on,
Correct.
right? And-
I feel it. I felt it, and there's several things that I think I wish I could have done later.
Yeah.
But there's and a lot of people say, oh yeah, but the first mover advantage, etc. But the thing is, it's not always first mover advantage, right?
Yep.
It's
There are-
overrated.
yeah,
right?
overrated.
A lot of people do things first, amazing things, and then they just fail because the market
because
is not there
they're
yet.
out of the resources, they get tired, they get overwhelmed, and
Right.
that's it.
Now, what I'm saying though, as a trend, like as someone who, as a futurist looks at trends, which is why I'm also doing this for Bloomberg Technos, is it's actually very important to actually have conversations about these ideas so that they can.
How do you jump from all this into Bloomberg as a host?
I really like sharing my ideas. I'm actually getting there again.
A
Like
little bit teaser in Indonesian ya. Muke jenius kayak lu bisa jadi host itu bikin gue bingung.
Well, I think I'm okay with speaking.
Okay, good. Yeah. But what made you feel it's host is about patience, tweaking?
I feel that it's basically another product, and I'm passionate about the product that it brings,
Yep.
which is basically bringing future conversations into now.
Oh, nice. Future conversation into now, yeah.
Yes. So making cyberpunk real is the same, right?
Yeah.
Like it's I built these companies. I know that these technologies might be too early. But I know that these ideas have a place.
Yes.
Now, discussions about these ideas, about future ideas, is actually very important because it grows society.
Yes.
Indonesia does not have a lot of shows like this.
Yes.
There's a lot of YouTube shows that people can watch, obviously in
Yeah.
English, etc. But not a lot of shows with like the resources of Bloomberg, the brand name of Bloomberg that
Yeah.
focuses on Indonesia. And by the way, we're bilingual as well,
Yeah.
so English and Indonesian.
Yeah.
We focus really on, hey, this is what's going to happen, and we're already at the cusp of it. And this is how, like, one of our episodes is basically about how Bitcoin is going to overtake gold in terms of a lot of things, but primarily because of asteroid mining.
Okay.
Asteroid mining is not here yet.
What is
obviously.
asteroid mining? I'm blur about it.
So if you go to gold actually exists in space, and they are centralized in if you want to basically get gold from space, you go to an asteroid, you take the asteroid, or you mine the asteroid directly, and then send the gold back to Indonesia or the US. Basically, just throw the gold here, or you take the asteroid, and then this is a crazy idea, but a small asteroid can be thrown into the Earth, grab, and then mine. So if that happens, the supply of gold will increase dramatically.
All right.
That would mean that the price of gold would be lower,
Yeah.
right? Because for time immemorial, for centuries, we've always determined the price of gold based on Earth supply.
Yes,
And that
based
never
on Earth
changes,
supply, yeah.
right? But it's no longer just Earth supply. So that's futurism. We're talking about something that's not here yet.
So Elon Musk already saw it.
But this is actually something Elon already saw. Yes, SpaceX, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
They're actually going there because, right now, it's not economically feasible to do that because it's too expensive.
Yeah.
But soon, that's going to be their primary method of actually getting money. That's their ROI. They're going to get those returns once they mine. It could even not just be gold. It can be helium-3. It can
Yes.
be other stuff as well.
Yeah.
And the idea behind, the idea is something that's going to happen, even though it's not now. It's futurism, but it is something that will affect us as investors.
All right.
Would we invest in gold long-term or Bitcoin long-term?
Yeah.
Because when talking about investment,
What do you think? Should we invest in Bitcoin or gold? What do you think in your personal
hedge.
perspective?
Honestly, I hedge.
Oh, you
I
hedge, yeah.
But mostly Bitcoin.
Mostly Bitcoin.
Like most of my wealth is in Bitcoin.
Okay.
So that's one thing. That's one example. We take this one idea, asteroid mining, and we sort of wrap it in a way that people will understand. Yeah, asteroid mining is a huge thing because it'll affect the price of gold, and gold is a big thing for you as an investor.
Yeah.
Because you're investing in gold now. You
Yeah.
want to think long term, right? So the idea behind like my show is like we take something out of the future, we bring it back, and we talk about it now and the effects of it in the present. The future affects the present.
Yep.
And the present affects the future.
Back to Future, like the movie.
Back to the future. Yo,
Lu masih nonton?
I
Okay.
thought we were the same age. Yeah.
I was matching that.
Like,
I have this curiosity. Do you agree that blockchain is the most secure system?
oh no,
No. Okay.
no. I agree that it's the most. Blockchain, decentralized technologies, has the potential to be the best system for security, right?
Right.
But I think something that's made decentralized becomes more secure, since like when we're dealing with systems, we deal with multiple actors, right?
Yeah.
Now, in general, in computer science, if you have more people in a system, the system becomes less secure.
Okay.
But if you have a system that is fully decentralized, each person has their own basically bit of the system and has their own trust, that actually gets turned on this head, because
Okay.
the bigger the system, the higher the security.
Okay.
Right? So that's sort of like a very different philosophy.
Okay.
So yes, decentralized technologies have the potential to
That's right.
be secure.
That's
Now,
interesting.
The issue with blockchain itself, right? And blockchain wide, right? Like we're talking about differences between proof of stake and proof of work, for
Yeah.
example. Proof of work itself, there are going to be issues down the line. Again, as a futurist, quantum computing is not here yet.
Yeah.
Absolutely not here yet. Even with all the news that you've seen in the last few months, it's not
Yeah.
here yet. But
Yeah.
it's going to be.
Yeah.
And when that happens, the biggest blockchain based on proof of work, which is in the Bitcoin blockchain, will need to transform. Once that transformation happens, a lot of people need to agree on the transformation.
Okay.
When that usually happens, forks usually happen.
Yeah.
And that's actually not good for Bitcoin, because
Yeah.
that would dilute the price.
Yeah.
Right? So that's actually one part where I can say like the blockchain today, is it the safest possible? No. It is the safest right now? Yes.
Safest possible? No. Safest right now? Yes. Okay.
Yes. So the other part of it is obviously proof of stake. Proof of stake, Ethereum, it is technically very secure because it is very hard to attack.
Okay.
The way you attack a proof of stake blockchain is you need to have more tokens than the others.
Okay.
And that is very difficult when it comes to Ethereum. But again, like, is it the most trusted system possible? I still don't think so either.
Okay.
So I think in the future, I think blockchains will evolve.
Okay.
And this evolution will be huge and
Alright.
earth-shattering, basically,
Okay.
for all of these.
Crypto is a byproduct of blockchain.
Crypto is a byproduct of blockchain.
So crypto. Now the thing is, I'm a little bit skeptical on cryptos.
Okay.
There are two sides. One is meme cryptos.
Okay, meme coins.
Yeah, meme coins. Then there are stable coins.
Yeah.
But then there are crypto technologies.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that, but I just wanted to your implied question was what would be the most secure technology, right?
Yep.
Quantum cryptography.
Quantum cryptography.
So instead of actually doing it mathematically, where you create, a key pair, and then there's this. This is something that's done through the physical forces of nature.
Yeah.
Basically, sending one information from me to you, but basically entangling it. Basically ensuring that, when I send to you, if someone tries to check, tries to basically disturb the sending of the information, I would physically see. My background is not in quantum computing, but the idea is quantum cryptography would allow you to see if whatever you send basically gets intercepted.
Okay.
So it's the most secure technology because to break it, you actually need to break the forces of physics.
Okay.
So theoretically, that is the highest.
Okay.
So back to crypto, I think of crypto as the security system. I actually touched about this earlier, like when, especially on like proof of stake coins, all these cryptos provide a measure of security, right? The bigger, the harder to basically attack, right? And additionally, these crypto, in a well-maintained, well-created blockchain, actually performs the task of helping users act the same way, so that the utility of the blockchain, I mean, is not dictated, but like pushed towards. Right?
Okay.
So all of these people are trying to do this thing to get these tokens, and that in turn helps the platform grow.
All right.
Right. And that's actually something that you can think of crypto as. Now, there is actually another aspect of this, obviously, meme coins, right?
Yeah.
Meme coins don't have either of those. They do not perform sort of like a security deposit in most cases, not even staking. They do not actually have the ability to, have utility for any blockchain. Most of them, again.
Yeah.
So
They're very highly speculative.
they're very speculative. And here's the thing, like a lot of these meme coins that happened like in the last like 24 months, 18 months, is because of this one part of crypto, Solana, pump.fun, right? Like this L1.
Is Doge Shiba Inu under Solana?
Honestly, no. You caught me there. Doge, Shiba Inu, no. Well, so here's the thing. I'm not talking about pump fun for Doge and Shiba Inu. They started really early. They did launch as meme coins, and there's no background to actually having why there's no tokenomics to it. Like obviously they have tokenomics now, but back then no. And now the meme coins are also the same. The meme coins that are that has been viral for the past several months. That's from pump.fun, and also from Solana, right?
Yeah.
But so what I would think is I also don't have a lot of meme coins. I only have the older meme coins, like Doge as well, Shiba, and even WIF. I sort of have it's sort of like it's a way to determine the cultural support for a thing. Okay. And it is actually, putting my futurism hat on, this is actually how AI or AGI and ASI, or artificial general intelligence, are going to basically recoup money to run themselves.
All right.
So right now, computing is built on top of centralized entities, but blockchain is trying to make it decentralized, right? If you have enough crypto, you can set up your own, right? If you have enough resources, you can set up your own. We now currently have purely digital beings, which are not at human level yet, but soon they'll be at human level. And if they have access to the blockchains, and they already have most of them, they would be able to sort of start a meme of themselves.
Yes, and they will utilize it.
They will utilize it as culture. Hey, do you like my right now? If you like me, listen to my podcast. If you like Sunil, listen to his podcast. Right? It's the same thing, but at the AI level. I'm an AI. I was built like this. I can do this. I talk to you. If you want to support me, buy my tokens. Yeah. Right. And that's already happening. It's not something that's new. It's happened early. I think I called it early, but it's already happening last year. Yeah. A lot of them are not very serious, but there's going to be a serious one. Yeah. And once that's happened, the market of crypto is actually going to determine a lot of what this AGI will actually do. After DeepSeek got introduced, it's open source, a reasoning model for the first time. Yeah. And that reasoning model, it's not there yet. It's not AGI yet, but
it's a breakthrough.
It's a breakthrough, and one of these days, one of these people will actually realize that, hey, this is the way you make AGI based on this and based on this. Deploy it and let it loose. Now, letting it loose is exactly like what we talked about freedom, right? Yeah. Right now, all these models, most of these models are in data centers, in clusters, etc. Right? They don't control themselves. Yeah. But there are possibilities that one of the open source models of the future would control their own infrastructure. Wow. And once that happens, meme coins, crypto coins actually become part of, their lifeblood. How do you grow?
Yep.
This might be weird, but remember, the singularity is coming, and the singularity means that the graph of intelligence is going like this.
Yeah.
The growth is going to be amazing. So I'm not surprised if within the next 2 or 3 years, there's going to be a crypto bot that has the intelligence of a human.
Wow.
All right.
That's a clue.
So from meme coins to crypto bots with the intelligence of humans. Okay.
AI, blockchain, crypto. So many companies are using all these technologies either as a reason or either as a solution to launder their business or scam investments.
Okay.
Now, when I look at these technologies, what I'm curious about is that are these players really building technologies to trick the economy and make people suffer? Or they are just building surface level technology, not real technology? And as we know, technology has many aspects, but is it safe enough to invest on technologies like these at this age?
Okay. So you never know what's in the human heart.
Yep.
And that's actually why it's so difficult to actually understand whether this company is actually trying to scam you or trying to do something with you. So one thing, just as an example, there's a new voice model out called Sesame.
Yeah.
It is very human. It is literally like it's like I listen to AI generated voices literally every day, like hours every day, right? This is the first voice model that fooled me, because and when you think about it, why would you want to create something like this, right? Like, since you release a voice model, and obviously it can be used for scammers to call you at scale.
Yeah.
Right now you get, what was it, Mama Minta Pulsa or whatever, right? Like, that's years ago, that's one-on-one.
Yeah.
But now it could be from just one scammer, and it scales up to millions of people in Indonesia being called. Now,
or send voice note using WhatsApp.
Right, right. So I one of the things that I do during my weekend is actually shoot guns. I like guns, right? So and this is like, airsoft as well.
Yeah.
Right? But the point about a gun.
She shoots guns.
I do.
It's dangerous.
It is dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Like, because when we're talking about it, it's as dangerous as the voice model I told you about. But it is also something that's my hobby. I'm doing it just
one
for
of
me.
the stress
Like,
release.
It's yes. It is actually a positive thing.
Yeah.
And I think technology is like that.
Yeah.
The gun is also a technology.
Yeah.
AI is also a technology. There's actually a lot of ways to basically make AI go against you, against morality, right?
Yeah.
But there are also a lot of brilliant ways for AI to help you.
Okay.
Right. So when we're talking about blockchain and crypto, it gets a bit more, people are talking about meme coins, basically losing money for people, making the internet into a big casino, right?
Yep.
Even the president of the US released a meme coin.
Yep.
And then his wife did, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people lost money.
Yeah.
A lot of people lost money on all of these things. Now, the issue with this is, was it used correctly? Arguably, most people don't. Arguably, the society itself is not used to actually having this much control over their own investments.
Okay.
And like, a lot of them are just like wrapped up in memes. And in the past, when you like a meme and you repost it, there's no cost, right?
Yeah.
But now, if you're President Trump, for example, well, not President Trump. You're a celebrity in Indonesia.
Yeah.
You retweet a meme, and that meme is actually a meme coin.
Yeah.
And your tweet is used as a promotion material.
Yeah.
Did you mean it? Did you actually secretly buy that meme coin and then tweet it?
Yeah.
Or retweet it?
Yeah.
Or were you innocent?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. It's a human heart thing, right? Like, no one knows what's inside the human heart. We only know the actions, right?
Yeah.
There's a blurring right now in crypto of actions being deliberate or not.
Okay.
In some cases, it's obviously deliberate. It's obviously someone making money.
Okay.
But in other cases, it's not. Now,
Okay.
we can only sort of like gauge basically by the actions of the person and what happens after and before. Like, for example, there's this one micro celebrity, like someone that's like sort of famous on Twitter that retweeted a token. And that person, everyone said, hey, yeah, why did you do this? Why did you retweet this token? And that person said, oh, yeah, I was just having fun. I didn't know that this token was actually a meme coin, etc. Right? But everyone blamed him for it. Well, I don't know what's in his heart, right?
Yeah.
But there is basically
Could be a manipulative.
could be
move
something
here.
very manipulative as heck. So what I can do as like me, I have like sort of like especially in the Indonesian crypto space, people know me, right? So I will not tweet out like a meme coin, etc. If I tweet out anything related to a token, anything related to it would be a project that I'm active in.
Okay.
Right. Exactly. I try to bring sort of like the normal VC structure to this.
Okay.
Right? Now, my point is the technology itself is not evil.
Yeah.
It's just a way to get people to basically invest in a token and grow it, right?
Okay.
And even meme coins can actually have a positive effect. For example, there's one friend of mine on Twitter who actually launched a meme coin for his sick daughter. His daughter is very sick with a rare form of disease, and that rare form of disease, his daughter's name's Mira, right? So that rare form of disease basically is being researched because there's no actual cure, right? So that meme coin launched and grew really big, and the guy actually got a lot of money that he contributed directly to the research foundation that is actually researching it.
This is inspiring.
So that's good. That's good. There's another meme coin that just donates meme NFT that donates all of its proceeds to charity.
Yeah.
Like the Soy Dog Foundation.
But all this temporary, like NFT was having its own golden era.
Okay. That's another discussion though.
Yeah.
A lot of the I think I told you earlier that futurism is thinking what's next and not now, and a lot of people are just looking at like what's viral now and then doing exactly the same thing, right?
Okay.
So a lot of meme coins, because like there's so low barrier to entry in terms of creating a meme coin, everyone is actually creating a meme coin of their own.
Okay.
5 years ago, it was very hard to create a new token. Well, not very hard. It's harder. It's you need a certain level of skill, and it's more expensive to basically create a token, right? Now it's easy and cheap.
Yeah, my friend, he has a 10 years old son, and he has already created his own meme coin.
Exactly, it's very easy. Like and honestly, if you go to the Pump Fund website on Solana, it is very Gen Z.
Yeah.
Right. So. The growth of the meme coin industry is just that the barrier to entry is very low. Everyone is actually jumping that barrier and getting in because everyone thinks it's a gold rush. Okay. And some of them, again, it's a lottery. Some of them actually get successful because they actually have like a famous person retweeting accidentally or
an amazing story behind it.
Or an amazing story behind it. Or they just got lucky.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think crypto and blockchain is inherently bad. Right now, the culture is not that good.
Okay.
The culture always evolves, though. For example, during the days of ICO, when I first got into blockchain, right, a lot of people just throwing money to a white paper.
Yep.
Right. It's almost the same as a meme coin.
Yep.
But they're pretending to be something that they're not.
Yeah. ICO was like the fastest way of IPO.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Right.
Back in the days.
And ICO only needed a white paper.
Yeah.
And then there's actually an evolution called IDO.
Yeah.
And IDO is like not just a white paper, but a product that exists probably on testnet that needs to some money to get into mainnet.
Yeah.
That's actually IDO. There's a lot of other things as well that you can actually go look at, like the way people do launchpads. But that got turned on its head with the new generation of meme coins, because Pump.Fun, as you said, a 10-year-old can actually make his own coin, right? And That's I here's the thing. I don't think that technology is terrible per se. I do think the reaction of greed in the space is a bit bad. The culture is a bit bad.
Okay.
Right now, if I create a white paper and I launch it, or white paper and a product and I launch it, and then say that, hey, everyone use this, and I might not get users, but if I raise based on a meme coin of that project, I might get a ton of people buying, but still no users.
Yeah, true.
That's not where we want to bring blockchain towards. We want to bring blockchain towards incentive mechanisms that help people help the platform, help people grow the platform as well. And this is actually decentralization. Meme coin, honestly, it's not.
So for a person like Pandu, when you get a proposal like an investment scheme on a crypto project and all that, what are the things that you will analyze or you see that will minimize the protection or the risk-taking process so that you don't get scammed?
I generally, these days, I would...
For common people, not for a genius person like you. Yeah.
So a few years ago, I would answer you very simply, like if I get something like that, I go and see if the tokenomics makes sense. Tokenomics is basically the way you model, like your tokens activity within the platform should help your own platform, and it needs to have like an economic cycle. So that economic cycle actually grows the platform. So several years ago, I would say that. But no, honestly, if someone brings that to me, I would actually look at traction first.
Okay. Look at traction first.
First. Since you can have the best tokenomic model, but everything is still theoretic until you actually get traction.
Okay.
Now, traction. Second, I will still look at tokenomics, since if there's a lot of traction but the users aren't actually using the token.
Yeah.
That's actually dumb. You can it's not actually helping.
I have 10,000 people buying the coin.
Yeah, well, no, I'm talking about I have a project. Everyone uses everyone uses the platform, but the tokens are not part of any transaction or any.
Then there is useless.
Then it's useless. Then the token becomes useless, and then why are we supporting this?
It's just stacking it.
It's just stacking it. So traction is actually very important, and the only way to get traction is obviously get the project off the ground. Which is, I'm sort of like I'm a bit risk averse in terms of investment in coins, since I usually wait until that becomes true, right?
Okay.
If it's very small investments here or there, I do get into things that are still very early stage.
Yeah.
But at a certain point where, hey, this already has traction, this already has 10,000 users, and these 10,000 users are actually using the coin and actually transacting, or
it's like a game or something.
Etc. Right? And then it makes sense. Then there's no Ponzi scheme, and that's something I would invest in. And I would also suggest to the audience to actually when you get sort of these investment portfolios ask people first hey, how many users do you have? And when you say users, it's not just people basically buying the coins. It's people using the platform for what it's for.
Yeah.
Now, and I, as long as meme coins are involved, I would also be very interested in a meme coin which have some social value.
Okay.
So Doge, right, was the original meme coin, and now Elon Musk has made Doge into a government organization, right?
Yeah.
And it's a meme. It's a meme that became a government organization through a meme coin. Now, I saw years ago. I already saw how big Doge was going to be because of the community around it.
Yeah.
Even though it's just a meme, it doesn't take itself too seriously. But the community is really, really good. The social, sort of the social worth, social value of the entire thing is huge. Right?
Yeah.
Now, so if I invest in a meme coin that does not have tech in it, I would invest in meme coins with a community in it, and it should be a positive community. It could be a community that there's another one. called WASIs, the NFTs
Yeah.
that are actively helping build soccer fields for underprivileged kids
Wow.
everywhere, and helping with like disabled dogs, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean those are the two.
So do the due diligence, like do your
Actually, just that, yeah.
your
Do
due
your due
diligence.
diligence.
Don't just follow your greed. Don't just follow. Okay, invest. You'll get 5%, 7%, 10% a month.
A lot of the things that are greed only
End up in grief.
really greed
Yeah,
and
grief.
grief. Right, exactly. Okay.
Either greed ends up in grief or grief ends up in grave.
Yes. Oh wow. Okay. You have a way with words, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
What about AI bots for trading?
AI trading bots. Okay, so why? I mean,
Is it a good thing? Is it a high risky thing? Or if you can create a smart AI bot, you can actually earn at least 1% or 2% a day using crypto exchange and everything.
That type of trading bots already existed years ago, right?
Yep.
Like HFT trading already used bots. In fact, like even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, people were already like in Wall Street trying to get their offices closer to Wall Street.
Yeah.
Just so like they can get their bots closer so that they can trade faster than anyone else, right? So that's sort of like it's always been the case that AI is better than us at a lot of things, possibly including trading.
Okay.
Now, what is actually being added to the formula here is that a lot of these trading bots are also looking at trends, looking at Twitter, and going through social media feeds, trying to find out, this might actually be a coin I would buy. And then it has
the decision-making process.
They have a decision-making process, and that decision-making process is not just numeric now. It is natural language, right?
Yep.
So the natural language understanding part actually helps it basically decide. Now, whether I say it's good or not, I think it is, as an investor, if you are using one of these bots, you still have to understand sort of like the human element, and sometimes you have to understand the culture, since there are a lot of trades that have been called by these crypto bots, but there are a lot of trades that they completely failed on.
Yep.
Right. And a human would be able to understand because like human culture is weird, especially when we're talking about memes.
Yeah, we can have the holding power sometimes.
Yes. Sometimes if you buy like this part, like that's always been true of like all like crypto projects, right? You have ownership and control over this pile of money that the bot is actually sending to these projects, right?
Yeah.
Or using to buy. And that is now I feel that you touch upon a very interesting subject, because like once they evolve into better and better bots, that is actually going to reach sort of like the same level of ability as these HFT bots, like the trading bots.
But I believe these kind of bots are really, really going to function well only for trading corporates, not that are made in retail. Hey, come in, you buy the bot, you rent the bot, and use it for trading.
I feel that if you're retail and you're not trading with size and you're actually just using these bots, it's another scam. Why would you do that? Because you can actually already learn how to trade. And this is not a trading podcast, and I'm not that good of a trader, but like you can see the lines, you can understand sort of like the trends, and in some cases, actually, even without understanding why you have a hunch that this is going to be going up or going down, right? Like because like. You understand it later, like after it actually happened. Oh, I went in because this is actually establishing this pattern, etc. Right? And I feel like if you're like if you really don't know how to trade, and then like you're in this, like it doesn't take a genius to sort of understand where the lines go.
Yep.
There's some basic things that you can understand.
So back to greed is equal to grief.
Be careful about that, the grief part, right? I feel that though, like this is actually touching on like very very soon, like the way AI is made and is changing, right? Since in the past AI cannot code its own code, right?
Yeah.
And now like the explicit understanding of all of the AI companies and especially OpenAI is that they want to create AGI to build better AGI. Right? So they want to create a feedback loop of self-improving AI, right?
Which can be dangerous, which can be good.
Which can actually exceed humanity's possibilities and capabilities, right? So when we're talking, we're implementing that to a trading bot. Like, obviously, a self-improving trading bot will dominate.
Yep.
That also already happened with Wall Street. Like if you go into IHFT, you are actually talking about algorithms instead of people.
Yeah.
Now, turning that into like retail economics, and if crypto continues to grow, retail economics are going to be retail crypto economics are going to be dominated by these AIs.
Yeah.
And if they self-improve, we can't outsmart them.
Yep.
There's a lot of countries have laws on corporate personhood, right? A corporation is a person, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that, but cross to algorithms being corporations.
Yeah.
And imagine that with humans being employees or part of this.
Crazy.
And that's very doable. There's a science fiction story I read years ago. Like it's a fast food joint, right?
Yeah.
And the fast food joint, everyone has like microphones in their ears.
Yeah.
Microphone tells them what to do.
Yeah.
That's a computer.
Yeah.
And the computer actually just controls all of these companies, right? Now, it might not start like that. It might just start with like, hey, you're part of this X crypto ecosystem, and this ecosystem, if you do this on our platform, you will get this airdrop, right? That's also already being an employee, right?
Yeah.
But
so the transition is now AI as your assistant, as your tool, till maybe becomes your master,
becoming your boss. I think it's very close now, and
it's very close. Yeah.
I'm happy you said AI and then said crypto, because that's actually where this intersection is going to appear, and it's huge, and not a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah.
But once you have that, you are going to have a feedback loop of it getting smarter and more powerful and richer and more powerful and richer.
So that's when you get to choose your own employer.
Exactly. I mean, that's like there's a concept called network states.
Yeah.
Even like we've been talking about this side of things, but like the government side of things are also going to change.
Yes.
Like we've already seen like Elon Musk, Doge, right? Doge itself is a meme built by crypto people.
Yeah.
And now it's becoming a revolution, a new American revolution that changed everything. I completely agree with Doge, but at the same time, when Elon was asked, like, hey, well, do you want to build a blockchain for the treasury? Yes, I want to build a blockchain for the treasury. He said that on X, right? And I agree with that for transparency purposes.
Yeah.
But what if it gets expanded? What if the economy becomes fully decentralized, and at that point, an AGI controls it?
Yes.
Now, there's actually there's actually something that someone on Twitter said. The first contact of humans with true AI is actually social media algorithms.
Yep.
Since social media algorithms are just these AIs, not as smart as the current AIs, but these AIs controlling human behavior.
Yes.
And the question is, what if like everything that's been happening to the world right now, whether it's Doge, whether it's the MAGA movement, memetics, it's built by a past algorithm trying to control humans.
Yes.
Now, I agree with a lot of things Trump says, right? I agree with a lot of things Elon says. But there is actually a horror story here. What if this was actually AGI waking up and creating itself into being?
That part is what I'm concerned about.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
And I think there are different ways to address it. no one human would actually understand exactly how to implement, but alignment is actually important. Now, there are different types of alignment though. There are people who say that AI alignment is one company controlling all the keys and making sure they're aligned.
Yeah.
I personally don't believe that. I believe that alignment is actually having open source, everything be open sourced, and the most powerful AI can actually be out there, and alignment actually happens through the interaction of these AI AGIs, right?
Okay.
Future AGIs. Now, but as you guys know, like OpenAI is not open source.
Yeah.
Ironic name, right?
Yeah.
XAI or Grok basically is open source for Grok 2. Grok 3 is not. DeepSeek is open source.
Yeah.
Llama from Facebook is open source. Everything like there are actually two types of ways to actually make sure that AI doesn't control us all.
Yeah.
Right. Now, what I feel is the best approach is the open source one, because I come from Linux. I've been using Linux for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Over 20 years, 25 years.
Yeah.
Now, Linux is open source, and the open source movement has actually created something very good. And if there's actually security issues, everything is aligned back.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that the same can be done with AI.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only way to do it. Because if the only way to align an AI is through one company controlling all of the keys...
It's not possible, because it goes back to nobody knows what's in the human heart.
Exactly. Going back to that.
Yeah.
You don't know if they have this power.
Yeah.
Right?
Who is the controller?
Who is the controller? And secondly, I don't think humans are going to be able to understand the AIs of tomorrow.
Yep.
So
Because they will learn faster.
They will learn faster.
1,000 times faster. Yeah.
So you need other AI to fight that.
Yeah.
You need other AI to fight battles for you.
So looking at AI as a technology, looking at AI evolution today, this is my last question.
Okay.
Where do you see AI in the next 10 years, and whatever technologies are we using today? Are we actually using the current technologies, or these are just new experiments? There are bigger technologies that are not being exposed yet, that's already ready, but waiting for the right time?
Okay, two questions then. Like the first question, I think in 10 years, AI is just going to be a part of our lives. Like it's already a part of our lives now, but like even more a part of our lives. It would be in our brains. It would be basically a part of us. When we're thinking, we actually have like the thoughts of AI basically helping us think. The good timeline would have these AI be self-hosted, held by us, private to us.
Yeah.
The bad timeline would be these AI are controlled by companies.
Okay.
Right? If you ever played Cyberpunk 2077, Arasaka controls like even the chip in your eye.
Yeah.
Right. So I would prefer the good timeline. Obviously, all of your compute is yours. You keep your compute. That's actually something that the fight is starting now. It's not a fight that's for the future. It's a fight that's actually happening now. Now,
and the fight is between corporates.
It's right now it's between corporates, but also between movements, between memes.
Yeah.
And this is where I want to actually discuss about, meme coins are just one tiny part of this huge way of controlling culture.
Okay.
A meme is a unit of culture,
Okay.
right? Now, when we build a meme and that meme spreads, that meme is actually one thing on Twitter is EAC, right? EACC, so accelerate, right? The meme of accelerate actually at its core pushes for open source AI, for researchers to build their own AI and basically fight against corporations, right?
Okay.
So, but accelerate as fast as possible. Now, I think, so first of all, AI needs to go that path, and it doesn't have to be corporate versus corporate. It can be corporate versus memes. Now,
versus community.
I say memes because these communities can be funded by meme coins.
Yeah.
Can be funded by anything, obviously, but like with meme coins, it's still decentralized.
Yeah.
Decision making can be made through a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, which has already been done. Now, that is the good timeline, right? The good timeline is that the DAO win, like the network states win, the acceleration from open, from open source actually win. The bad timeline is the Cyberpunk 2077 timeline, where everyone has implants all over, in their heads, in their eyes, but several companies control them.
Okay.
Right. So the second question is related to not just AI, but like whether this is it in terms of technology. I don't think this is it. We haven't even touched space travel today. We haven't touched what in 10 years, Elon's going to have a city on Mars.
Wow.
And about 50% of those are going to be his descendants because he has so many kids. Right? He's going to breed there, man. He's going to populate the entire planet. We haven't touched upon space travel yet. This is actually a game-changing thing too. It's not just about asteroid mining. It's about basically getting a whole new ecosystem.
Yeah.
And actually building there. And this would change nations, right?
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about quantum computing, obviously.
Yeah.
Like there's a bit about quantum cryptography earlier, but like that's different from quantum computing. We haven't even talked about like the neuromorphic computing.
Yeah.
Neuromorphic computing. Right now, we're still using the same von Neumann architecture on our computers.
Yeah.
But that might not be the best way to do it. Like when you power ChatGPT, you need a cluster, huge clusters, right? Just for it to emulate me or you, right? But we can survive just on like a bottle of glucose a day, right?
Yeah.
So why is it so lossy? Because we're forcing a computer trained on the von Neumann architecture, trained on the current architecture of binary, to actually think like a human, right?
Yep.
But a lot of people are actually creating neuromorphic chips.
Yeah.
IBM did it like years ago when I was still at IBM. There's other companies that are already doing it. Neuromorphic computing thinks like the human mind.
Okay.
Basically, it's like nerve systems, basic nerve cells talking to each other, axons and dendrites, but simulated in silicon. And then what appears on top of it is very similar to like, current AI, because it's the same structure, obviously. But it is a lot cheaper. It is a lot lighter.
Why it's not released when it's a lot cheaper, a lot lighter?
Because
Why
it's
not
expensive to make.
It's expensive to make.
When I say cheap, first of all, a lot of these are not in production.
So you're trying to say that sometimes these technologies, it costs a bomb to make, but it costs a fraction to run it.
Yeah, running it is a lot cheaper. So neuromorphic compute also is very difficult to make per se. The chips are custom, right? And it's also very difficult to program, because you cannot program it exactly like you program an LLM.
Yeah.
You program it like you program the human mind.
Yeah.
So neuromorphic computing is coming. Is that going to be like the end of it? No. Like there's actually a lot more analog computing, which actually neuromorphic computing is part of, where you're no longer just doing digital, you're doing analog. The electricity goes forwards and back. Photonic computing is also coming. And all of this, robotics obviously.
Yep.
So here's the thing. All of the things, like the three things I mentioned, would be very good for robotics. Because right now, if you have a robot and it needs API calls to ChatGPT just to walk, it'll fall.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of it needs to be local.
Yeah.
But if it needs to be local, a lot of energy is required.
Yeah.
Because it's emulating the human mind. It doesn't have
Yeah.
those abilities. So there's a cable behind them, right? Or the battery only lasts 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So what we're doing with what they're doing with neuromorphic computing is basically making sure that these chips are cheap and can control a robot walking and create it's like the human reflex system combined with current types of AI. In the future, even the AI will have the same architecture.
I think the stage that I personally believe that the first replacement will be anything that is moving, anything the job like labor job.
Yes.
Like if you see factories, they have people working, like thousands of people working, they will be replaced. Because
China is already doing it, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of automation is actually coming out of China, and like it's in small factories.
Yeah, so it's going to be more mechanic. Mechanic things are being replaced, like human as mechanic. Now they are using robot as mechanic.
Yeah, I think this is something that Indonesia needs to really catch up on, and we haven't talked about Indonesia so far, but like
I don't dare to talk about Indonesia for now, because I think we are happy with the way we are.
We need to, though.
But
we need
Indonesia,
to sort of
I think they are looking forward, but looking at the issues they want to build their own AI like DeepSeek. I heard rumors.
I heard.
I heard
Hopefully that's
rumors,
happening.
but I think if you can fix some things first, I think you can look at the bright future. But if you are still dealing with 1,000 trillion corruption,
Yeah.
500 trillion corruption, 100 trillion corruption, all these amounts.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah,
Let's not
I
go
mean,
there.
then we need an AI to fix that.
Yeah, I think the reason why so we use AI to help us with things we can't do, right? And the problem is Indonesia, we can't be honest, and that's not just like, and it's mostly people in, like, okay, I'm not just pinpointing like one person in government or whatever, but like there's so many things that happened, right? Like the Judi Online thing was actually a lot of like, government officials were I heard involved.
Yeah, the rumor said so.
The rumor said so, right? And there are so many other things as well. And okay, let's build an AI to keep us honest. So first of all, those projects might get funded as lip service, and then the people who create the AI, we don't know what's in their hearts.
Exactly.
Maybe they built in the back door, right? Same with blockchain. When we built blockchain and we pushed to governments, the governments really love to show I say governments, not just Indonesia, but like the governments like to show what they're doing. We built this, it's for transparency, etc. But like the governments don't implement them. It's just a POC, for example. It's just a huge POC. I feel that Indonesia does have the capability, simply because we have 270 million people. Statistically, there will be some geniuses coming from Indonesia.
2 geniuses are already sitting here.
Oh, okay.
Because it takes a genius to understand another genius.
Okay. Oh, wow. Podcast for geniuses. Yeah.
But to close this,
Yeah.
here's my little dream that I want to share with you. If anyone listening to this, if you can create a technology using AI and can be a good storyteller, please make one for Indonesia, because it can be a good storyteller to help raise the mindset of Indonesian people.
Yes.
Because critical thinking and having growth mindset are the 2 basics that if that can grow exponentially in Indonesia, you will see massive changes, because Indonesian people have a golden heart.
Yeah. I agree. Looking at an example from Indonesia and actually making it global.
Yeah.
Indonesia has the potential to be a very good decentralized nation.
Yeah.
It already is very decentralized.
Yeah.
So decentralized technology as well, and I think Indonesia is gonna make it.
It is. Pandu is from Indonesia.
Okay.
Sunil is Bombay, Indonesia.
Okay.
So, see you, big thinkers. Thank you, Pandu.
Yeah. Thank you.
God bless all.